All right, Rob, another story around the NFL featuring a former superstar, Brett Favre. And
this is a bad story, Chris. I'm sorry.
It is. We're going to ask Rob G to kind of summarize the situation for us. Rob G, bring us up to speed.
Well, there's a lot going on, guys. The former governor of Mississippi is involved in a civil suit, which Brett Favre has been named already, him and a couple of other people, involving the misappropriation of welfare funds. Now, as you know, Brett Favre was already investigated by the FBI for accepting over $1 million from funds from the state of Mississippi that, again, were from that welfare fund account. He has since paid it back, however, did not pay any of the interest. So that's part one. Part two here, he accepted over $1 million again for the speaking. But in addition, over $5 million was earmarked for his alma mater, his daughter's volleyball arena at Southern Mississippi University. Now, the smoking gun in this whole situation is there were texts exchanged between Brett Favre and the former governor, in which case Brett even mentions, I want to make sure that they don't know where my money comes from in this situation.
Jeez.
So he already knew that it was...
well, he didn't want them to know that it was coming from the governor's office.
Right.
He maintains he doesn't know that it was from the welfare pie. He just knew it was coming from the governor.
And here's the other thing, Chris, really quickly. Mississippi's one of the poorest states in the...
No,
is
Rob,
it the poorest?
The poorest.
Okay, the poorest state in the United States. People need help down there. Are you kidding? Seriously. And I know that's his home state, but you're taking from the people who need it most. That's low. Come, and you're rich? And you're rich, Chris? Really?
Rob, I'm sorry. I said it the other day, and I'm going to repeat it. When your crime is bad all the way around, right?
Yep.
But when you are wealthy, rich, he made, what, $100 million in his career or something? Probably more. I'll check that out. But when you're wealthy and rich and you still commit crimes, not that it's okay for a poor person.
Right.
But you're just doing this strictly out of greed. There is no other reason. Why in the world would Brett Favre take money from the poorest people in the poorest state? So they're the poorest people in the freaking country.
Right.
And I think when people who are wealthy and rich do crimes like this, they should get the book thrown at them.
And I love that
they should get a higher punishment than the poor, everyday run-of-the-mill guy, little criminal on the street.
Who doesn't have any money.
Not that they should get off, but you know what I mean?
Who doesn't have any money, Chris, and they're stealing Pampers for the baby or milk. It ain't right, but I can understand it if you don't have money and you have a baby at home that needs Pampers or milk. I can.
Yep. This is horrible. And it was bad enough what he did a few years ago. Right? Like you needed the $1 million that much. I don't know what he did with his money, but still, I mean, he had to have something. And he's Brett freaking Favre. All right, your name is money, to be honest.
And if you need that volleyball for your daughter's college, pay for it yourself. You got wealthy friends all over. Have a golf outing, Chris. Get somebody to sponsor it. You can make a phone call to Nike or some business that you've had a relationship with and said, we need to build this in Mississippi. And if you throw in $300,000 and I throw in $1 million and some other people, friends of Brett Favre, and then we present it to the university. What is wrong with that? But no, he can't dig in his money. Let's take the welfare money because nobody cares about them. No one's going to look and question it or whatever. Just awful. And it's hard to look at him the same way. It is.
No question. And Rob, he made nearly $140 million.
Is that what the number is?
During his career? $140 million. I mean, come on, man. It just... It is hard to look at.
And that's not even endorsement money, Chris. That's not even, that's just salary.
That's not all the other stuff. I'm not going to say it's hard to look at him the same way. I can't look at him the same way. I don't look at him the same way. This is horrible, man. And remember, Rob, what he did when he was with the Jets.
Right.
He sent obscene pictures to one of the cheerleaders, Jen Sturger, who's now a broadcaster. Just unwanted, unsolicited, obscene photos of himself to her. So it's just like, man, the more you
and he got away with that too. Nothing happened. Nothing happened.
Well, this is an example, Rob, of entitlement. And maybe, when you get away with all types of bad behavior, you think you're untouchable. And that seems to be the situation with Brett Favre. I mean, this is just terrible, Rob. I don't look at him the same way. I'm sorry.
And going forward, if you're the NFL or, you're inviting him to some sort of event, you know what I mean? Like you start to look, it is, and I like the word that you use, crime, because that's what it is. It ain't, everybody thinks crime is pushing over an old lady and grabbing her pocketbook, Chris. It's white. This is white collar crime.
Yep.
Stealing funds that are allocated for poor people. If this is anybody else, a politician, Chris, they're going to jail. You hear me? They're going to jail.
Yeah, I mean, it's just horrible. It is absolutely horrible. I know I keep saying that, but I'm at a loss for words. I just don't understand why you would do this. And you brought up the NFL inviting him to things. Rob, he needs to be persona non grata for the NFL.
Right. I definitely, if I'm the league, I can't have him at some big event, a guest of the NFL, because that would be like just endure the same way that they shun other people for other situations.
Yep.
Chris, here's a guy who is as big as it gets, and obviously it's a different kind of situation. Matt Lauer was as big as anybody, making $30 million, biggest star on television, morning news. Chris, he can't go to a persona non grata to everything.
Yep.
Nothing. Have you seen him? Chris,
No.
You haven't seen him in 3 years.
No. And look, Favre's going to be if he doesn't go to jail or whatever. I don't know what potential penalties are out there.
It'll be probation, because if you don't have a record, if you don't have any felonies, any other priors, Chris, for the most part,
at this point, Rob, he hadn't been charged with anything.
No, I know there's no charge, but I'm saying it would be probation. I guarantee you that.
But I tell you what, so look, let's say it is probation. Look, he can count his blessings. He'll get to live his life. He still got a lot of money, I'm sure. He'll be able to live his life. I'm sure the people who are his friends will still be his friends for the most part. And he'll still be able to go ahead and live a good life. NFL shouldn't have anything to do with him. I'm sorry. He's in the Hall of Fame, right?
Yep.
And he can stay there. But they shouldn't have anything to do with him. I really don't want to hear him talk about Aaron Rodgers anymore. I don't want to hear him talk about young quarterbacks. I don't want to hear him, unless he's going to talk about this and explain yourself. I'm sorry, Rob. The NFL shouldn't. Do you see Lawrence Taylor trotted out there very much?
No, you do not. Because of Lawrence Taylor's, you don't see him, Chris, very seldom. He's one of the biggest stars in the playing the NFL.
Arguably the best player ever.
Yep, and you don't see him on anything. He's not invited to anything. The Giants every so often, Chris, will have something.
Right, I've seen him here and there,
but that's it. But very sparingly, I agree.
And his issues,
and what about
now? Who do things? But he was harming himself as like.
But he also had a thing with
some other things.
Something with young girls, underage girls. He was involved in that. Now here, what is the network that Brett Favre works for? Because isn't he on a podcast or something? What is he?
I don't
30-13. But Chris, they haven't said anything. There's no comment from where he's working.
And guys, I don't mean to jump in, but we just did a Brett Favre topic about a week and a half ago because he said something about Trey Lance, and it was on the 33rd team. Since all this has gone down, several media reporters have reached out to that company and said, hey, will you guys any comment on what's going on with Brett Favre?
Nothing.
Radio silence.
Nothing.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man. He may not even address this. You know? I mean, he'd be wise to just kind of go off and
anytime he's in public, he should be. If reporters are around, they should, of course, ask him.
Yep.
Brett, why'd you steal the money? that would be my question.
I'm gonna be honest, Rob. I didn't know Brett Favre. I didn't cover the NFL like that. I never met him or anything. I liked him as a player. From afar, I liked him as a player.
He was a great player to watch. Are you kidding? A gunslinger,
absolutely.
Throw the ball around the field. He was great like that.
And he seemed like I liked his personality from what I saw. He just was, seemed like a cool guy, like a good guy, but now, man, this is just some horrendous madness that he got involved in. And like we said, it's not the first time that he's done something like this. And so, like I said, I don't look at him the same way. I think he should be persona non grata with the NFL.
Yeah.
If their talk of integrity and all of that is sincere, which we know it probably isn't, but, then they shouldn't have anything to do with him. I'm sorry. Unless he comes out and, recants, pays the money back, whatever he wants to do.
But he would have to do a lot, no doubt.
Absolutely.